Vanavond, dames en heren, heb ik een hele bijzondere gast. Hij is de populairste senator van de Verenigde Staten. Werd in 2015 door Time Magazine uitgeroepen tot Person of the Year. En werd tot 2 keer toe op een haar na presidentskandidaat namens de Democratische Partij. En hij ging viral als meme, zittend op een klapstoeltje met zijn handen over elkaar in koddige wollen wandjes. Ja, soms is het niet te voorspellen hoe je geschiedenisboeken ingaat. Let's give it up for my very special guest, Bernie Sanders. Thanks for being here. It's an honor to have you on the show. How are you doing?
I'm great, and I'm enjoying the Netherlands very much.
Oh, that's nice. Last time you were in the Netherlands, it was 20 years ago. What took you so long?
A couple of presidential elections. My job in the Senate keeps me kind of busy, but it's good to be back.
I can imagine. Of course, you're in the main reason you're in the Netherlands is to be on our show, the Avondshow. But you're also here on a book tour for your latest book. This is this book. It's called Het is oké om kwaad te zijn op kapitalisme. Did they tell you what it translates to?
No.
No, okay.
I'm assuming I know.
Yeah, okay. The title probably says it all. What motivated you to write this book?
Well, what motivated me is that we are living in a very strange time throughout the world. And that is, while millions of people in America are struggling to put food on the table and to pay their rent, to get health care, people on top are doing phenomenally well. And we now have more income and wealth inequality in the United States and in many parts of the world than we have ever had before. Mm-hmm. So in America, we have the absurd situation that 3 people own more wealth than the bottom half of American society, while 60% of workers are living paycheck to paycheck. And I think that is an issue that must be addressed.
Do you recall a defining moment or event from your childhood that makes you want to write and tell these things?
Yeah, I grew up in a working class family, a family that did not have a lot of money. My mother's dream was to get out of the apartment. We had what was called a rent-controlled apartment and get a home of our own, and we were never able to do that. But I think the struggles that my family went through as a kid are the same struggles that tens of millions of families in America are going through right now. And I think in the world we live right now with so much wealth out there, we should be able to provide a decent standard of living for all people, not just have so much disparity in income and wealth.
Yeah. So the main question is, if not capitalism, what else? What's the alternative?
Well, I think the book mostly focuses on what I would call uber capitalism. It's not an attack on some small business person, somebody who starts a business, some entrepreneur. What the attack is about is that, at least in America, you have giant corporations that control sector after sector of our society, whether it's agriculture, whether it's media, whether it's transportation. And what we have got to do is create a more democratic economy, which works well for all and not just the few, where a handful of billionaires do not have the kind of power they have right now. So, for example, I would like to see more worker ownership of places in which people work, more democracy in the economy.
One thing that in your book that struck me was you say we should tax robots.
Yes.
What is that about?
Well, I'll tell you what it's about. It's artificial intelligence and robotics is going to transform virtually every workforce in the world. Now, be careful that there won't be a robot sitting here in a few years.
I'm expecting it already. Who says I'm not a robot?
There you go.
Yeah. I have this little... Okay.
So you're laughing now, but in a few years...
I know. That's right.
But the real issue is that all of our jobs are going to be transformed. Worker productivity will be greatly improved. Who's going to benefit from all of that? Is it just the people who own the technology, the corporations who utilize the technology, or as we increase worker productivity, will workers benefit from that? And one of the things I will be doing in the United States within the in the Senate in the next couple of months is introducing legislation to reduce the American work week, which is now legally 40 hours a week, down to 32 hours a week. Because I want to make it clear that as worker productivity increases, workers should benefit and not just the large corporations.
So also... So robots should be taken seriously. How about the next president? Would you prefer a robot, an AI president, or Donald Trump? Honest answer.
Well, I think the artificial intelligence president might have a little bit more intelligence than Donald Trump.
Says it all. Yeah, well, I've heard you say at some place you call him the most dangerous president of all time. Why do you think so many people still support him?
Well, I think two reasons. The reason that I do is not just his views on this or that issue, which I disagree with, is unlike other candidates for president, major candidates, he really does not believe in democracy. And he is trying to undermine the very foundations of American democracy. Look, I've run in elections where I've lost. Every politician loses. You say, oh, congratulations, you won. Yeah. What can I learn from my defeat? What he did is denied the fact that he lost, try to undermine the entire electoral system, undermine the court system. And if he is elected president, it will send a signal to countries all over the world that democracy is in serious trouble. And that's why I'm going to work as hard as I can to make sure that he is not elected.
The funny thing is, Trump calls you a communist, but...
Among other things.
Among other things. But in the Netherlands, we would not even consider you extremely left. I mean, you would be some low-key Frans Timmermans, probably. And Obama wouldn't even be left here. He would be probably a member of the VVD with his political views. It's like, it's shifted.
All right. But here's the important thing. I think sometimes Europeans take this for granted. You should be proud, the Nordic countries should be very proud of many of their accomplishments. You know, it wasn't always that healthcare was a human right.
No.
A lot of people historically died because they couldn't get to a doctor on time. To a large degree, Europe has said, you know what, healthcare for all people is a human right. We have not yet achieved that in the United States. So you're right, in a global context, not all that radical. All I want to do is to make sure that we have a high-quality healthcare system. Yeah. We have a major housing crisis, on and on. So many of the accomplishments of Europe, which you take for granted, we have not yet reached in the United States.
So you're behind, is that what you're saying?
In many ways, we are.
Well, it's good to hear.
Not in all ways, but in some ways.
Right after this interview, you're going to meet Frans Timmermans. He's the leader of the Green Labour Party at the moment. What are you going to discuss?
Well, one of the issues, and I know France has been very active in this, is the issue of climate. If we have learned anything from this very last summer, where we have seen heat waves all over the world, terrible forest fires, floods, extreme weather disturbances, is the entire world, China, the United States, Europe, the entire world has got to come together to cut carbon emissions and transform our energy system. So that's one of the issues we'll be discussing.
One thing that you should know about France, is that he's fluent in multiple languages. You probably know that already. So may I suggest we teach you a little Dutch sentence to impress him?
Okay.
Okay. How about... I'll give you the honest translation, so you won't be saying anything weird. The Dutch sentence is... Hoi Frans, wat een mooie baard, respect. Which means, hi Frans, what a beautiful beard you have, props. Would you want me to repeat it? Hoi Frans, wat een mooie baard, respect.
You think that's what I should be talking about?
Exactly.
All right. I'll remember that.
Okay. Keep it in mind. Thank you, Senator Sanders. It was a great privilege having you on the show.
Thank you so much.
Give it up for Bernie Sanders. Jullie bedankt voor het komen. Jullie bedankt voor het kijken. Dit was de avond. De morgen. Oh, wacht, niet bewegen. Ik zie dat je je niet geabonneerd hebt op ons YouTube-kanaal. Dus goed dat we daar nu achter komen. Abonneer je maar gauw. Niemand hoeft het te weten. Snel, kom.